As you know, the last few weeks we have been sharing with you about Lottie Moon Christmas Offering. And today we have a little personal touch in that. And Kimber and Brad is going to come and share about their experience concerning the International Mission Board.
Hi. In 2007, Brad and I each went overseas with the International Mission Board. We didn't know each other then, but we met through the process. I had just graduated college, and literally the morning after graduation, it was like 5 o'clock in the morning, I caught a flight to Virginia to go to training, and I moved to Africa by myself at the age of 21. And we were over there for 2 years. I was in Swaziland, which is in southern Africa, and Brad was in a Muslim country in northern Africa. The Lottie Moon Christmas Offering makes up over half the budget for the International Mission Board. The International Mission Board is the missions organization for Southern Baptist churches. And so whenever we were called to go, we did not have to go around and raise funds, because there's already a pot of money for Southern Baptist missionaries to go on long-term missions. This was an extreme advantage because it made the process go smoother. And when you think about somebody moving overseas, just moving in the U.S., that's a stressful process. You have to think about new schools for kids, places to live, banking accounts, changing address. But so when you think about doing that to a foreign country and include things not being as organized and processed, that people moving more slowly as far as those things go, it's a very stressful thing. Southern Baptists have the International Mission Board, and it's a very organized process where you're not having to raise funds. And that helped. I just saw the advantages of that on the field because I met with other missionaries there from different organizations, and they would be right in the middle of their ministry and would have to go back to the U.S. to raise more money. And they would say, oh, I think we'll be back in another month. Don't worry. Well, that month would turn into 2 and 3, maybe 6 months before they finally raised enough money to return to the field. So it was really hindering their ministry where they were. And for families, they would sometimes be gone a whole year raising funds and then come back to the country where they were.
Kind of to piggyback on what she's saying, I was in a North Africa country, a Muslim country, and my supervisor's family has been there over 10 years now. And as you can imagine, that's a hard place to witness to people and to share Christ with people because just the difference in the religions there. And you really have to establish yourself in the community. You have to establish yourself with the people. They have to trust you and know you. And like she was saying, if you're going and leaving so often, then they're kind of be like, well, are you going to come back? How long are you going to be? You know, so you can't. It's really, really hard to establish that personal relationship with someone so that then you can pour Christ into them. And especially in a place, in a Muslim country where, and from, just now, 10 plus years later, my supervisor's families are just now seeing a pocket of Christians raise up from that Muslim community. And, if they weren't established there, then those people would not have heard, or they wouldn't have the opportunity to share. And the Lottie Moon Christmas Offering and the IMB program have really given them the chance to establish those relationships, to now see Christians rising up in that community, and it's just an awesome thing to see that.
The International Mission Board really prepares the missionaries before they go overseas. We were given all our crazy vaccinations. We were, like rabies and weird things like that. We were given very good training, what to do if you were in a hostage situation, crazy training, very well prepared. And then on the field training as well, such as language tutors and things like that. And they also provide very good medical support. I had a little spot on my back whenever I was over there, and they paid for me to go to a capital city of Johannesburg and to see a very good dermatologist. And I did have melanoma on my back, and it became, a minor deal. But I didn't have to worry because they said, okay, here's someone, you can stay with this person. You're going to be here for a couple of weeks. You'll have to go back to the doctor again. And I didn't, at that point, a 22-year-old living on my own in Africa, I had people around me to take care of me and to tell me what steps I needed to follow in order to get better. And if I didn't know that, if I didn't have connections to see a doctor like that, I probably wouldn't have gone to the doctor. And they said, hey, if you had not gotten this removed, you wouldn't have lived to be 25. And so I'm just very thankful to the structure of the International Mission Board and how well they take care of their missionaries. I've spoken to other missionaries overseas, and they said, hey, no matter where you go in the world, you can always find two things: a Baptist missionary and Coca-Cola. And it's true, but there's been a lot of cutbacks with the International Mission Board. Older missionaries are retiring and returning back to the U.S. to try to help the funds go a little bit further. But the problem with that is that you have these seasoned missionaries that know the language, know the culture, established in that area, that are leaving because they're trying to let some of these newer missionaries come in because there's not much money. A lot of churches have given just the same number every year, and that not increased the number as inflation has increased. And as the price of fuel has increased, especially in foreign countries, the price of fuel has skyrocketed more than it did in the U.S. And so that's why they're having to cut back a lot. And really the only two things I could see happening if this trend continues are there's not going to be as many missionaries, which we know our world needs. Or the other option is that these missionaries are going to have to go around and start raising money, at least partially raise their own funds. And from what we have shared, we realize that puts you at a big disadvantage. To be constantly leaving the field, not knowing when you're returning, and especially in that 1040 window in those Muslim countries where you have to be established in that community for years before people come to you and want to hear the gospel. That's really going to hurt things. So I just want to encourage you to pray about it, and whatever number God puts on your heart, give that number. Because the International Mission Board is a terrific organization. It's helped us out a lot, brought us together. But we just want to encourage you to pray about that and give very generously and joyfully next week. Thank you.
Like I said, you can give to the Lottie Moon Christmas Offering. You can use the envelopes in the back. You can go online, our church webpage. We have many different ways for you to do that. All righty.